I decided to push the quiz back till Thursday, okay, instead of tomorrow. I just didn't feel like, especially because what I'm going to show you today is also on the quiz, so I thought it would be fair to get it to you on Thursday, so it'll be on Thursday. Okay. Again, if you weren't here on Friday, not going to be here tomorrow. As bad as this sounds, it's not my concern. Okay, it's not my concern. That's why I put up all these videos. All right, number 12, I'm jumping right into it. Doing part B, graph B, -2 cosine x minus 4. This is all a review of everything we've been doing. I want to fill in the values first before I graph. Is this page 12 or no? What is this, page 13? Okay, page 13, part B. Okay, I need your help filling in the values right now. And if you don't know what it is, just say, hey, don't know what it is, need a little help. Okay, this is what Thursday's going to be. Okay, this is a nice question of what Thursday's going to be. All right, amplitude. You can use the equation to find the amplitude. Here we go. 16 amplitude. 4. No. All right.
-2.
Okay.
2.
Third, final answer?
Yeah, 2.
Yes.
2.
It's the number out in front, but amplitude's always positive. So I take that negative off, and the amplitude is indeed 2. How about the vertical shift? This is what we did on Friday, the vertical shift. Here you go, 11, vertical shift. Down. Okay, remember, that's my amplitude. That has nothing to do with the shift. This other number is the shift. Down 4. Please don't put 4. Please do not put 4. Make sure you tell me up or down. If you put -4, I'm fine with that. All right, but tell me at least up or down. Okay, max and the min here. Max and the min. You need amplitude and the shift to determine that. Let's work with somebody here. Here we go, 8. Before I did the shift down 4, what was my min and max? Okay, thank you. 18. Before I did the shift up and down, what was my min and max? What was my min and what was my max? Oh, before the shift. So just that -2 cosine x. And 2. Okay, everyone good. That was before I shifted. Now I shifted both down 4. So Grace, what's my, ready? What's my new minimum, excuse me? -6. And what's my new maximum? There we go, -2. Everyone all right on how we got that? I prefer you guys find the min and max before the shift and then apply it. Okay, midline. That's that line, horizontal line that cuts the minimum and maximum in half. And it's right in the equation. I don't know if anybody remembers, it's right in the equation. Here we go, 16. Okay, make it a line though. Y equals -4. It's also the shift, remember. The midline equation is also the shift. Again, please make sure it's an equation, y equals. I'll fill out the rest here. Period, 2 pi. That's how long it's going to take. That's changing today. And then where do I put a 0, a max, a min, a key value? I put it every pi over 2. Yep. That will also change today. Sorry. And then the range. Range is already up here. 7, what's my range here? -6 to -2. And I never made an issue about this, but just make sure when you're writing the range, the smaller number comes first, okay? Just make sure the smaller number comes first. All right, any issues on the values here? Are we ready to graph now? Okay, there's a lot going on, guys. I got a shift, I got a negative out in front. Here we go, take your time. Cosine, where does it start? Usually at its max. Got it. But what's out in front? A negative. So it's not going to start at its max. It's going to start at its minimum. Everyone see that? All the maxes get turned into mins. Mins get turned into maxes. So where should I start this graph? -6. And this is why I like to fill out the values first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, shoot. It is on there. Got lucky. There it is. That's where I'm going to start it. We good there? Because this is what it's going to be on Thursday. A graph like this. Yep.
So we start with the minimum because of the negative.
It's the cos. First, I started with cosine art, and I said to me, cosine always starts at the max, right? So usually I would probably start at -2, right? But because I had that negative sign out in front, everything gets flipped. Maxes become mins, mins become maxes.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Now where's cosine usually go? What's the next key value on cosine? Zeros. This right here has no effect on the 0. What does have an effect on the 0 though? My shift down 4. So instead of at 0, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm at max, 0. Then it usually goes to the min, the next key value. But what are you going to tell me, guys? It's not going to be the min. It's going to be the max because I have a negative out in front. So what was our max? -2. 1, 2. Then I feel once you get that, it's just going to start repeating itself again. Then it goes to 0, which is -4. And then cosine usually ends up at the max, but flip over to the min. -6. There we go. And if I needed to go on the negative side, it just repeats itself.
Do we do that on the quiz?
What's that?
Do we write both sides on the quiz?
I can't remember, Art, but be prepared. Okay, be prepared. Anything with you guys there? I'm going to have you graph a couple, I think 3 or 4 graphs on the quiz Thursday. All right, I'm not done yet. Go to number 3. Question 3, please. Okay, these are the 2 formulas you need to come in to remember. 2 formulas coming in. This is a cosine curve. I need to know what the A value is and what the C value is. And those are formulas I'd given you on Friday. A value, anybody remember the formula? They're very, very, very similar, except for the sign in between. Marissa, what was the A value formula I gave you? Max minus min divided by 2. All right, can somebody get those values for me? Here we go, 15. Max value on the y-axis. Well, that's an x value. I don't care about x's. I care about y's. 9 minus what's my minimum? So it's not 9 minus 5. 9 minus -5 all over 2. So that A value turns out to be 7. Yep. And then what was the formula for C? Very similar. Very similar. 10, how are they similar? Nope. Nope, max plus min divided by 2. So 9 plus -5 divided by 2. And what's my C value here? 9. 9 plus -5 divided by 2.
Give me a second.
Yep.
Oh, wait, it's 2.
Yep. Okay. Again, what's C represent? That's the what of my graph. If it's outside here, vertical shift. So that tells me I'm going up 2. All right, shifting up 2. Okay, any issues there? Because I'm probably not going to review that again. All right, it'll be on the quiz on Thursday. Anything here? Okay. Remember what I told you, period's not going to be 2 pi anymore? That's starting right now. Okay, so go ahead and go to okay, here's a sketch of 3 cosine x. I hope, I cross my fingers, you could do that on your own. Okay, 3 cosine x, there's no shift. What's my amplitude? What's the amplitude of this graph? 3. We need some help, and I'll be honest, we need some help if we don't know that by now. Okay, where to find that on the graph? All right, should be the number out in front. If there's a negative sign, I take it away. All right, I'm going to have you guys, no calculator. I know it says using your calculator in part A, but I don't want to show you and have you guys dependent on the calculator. It's just more stuff for you to remember. So I'm just going to show you what the points are. But I do want to know something first. What's so different about this graph than anything we've had in the past? What is brand new about this equation? All of a sudden popped out of nowhere. Art? What's with it? I never put anything with the x on the previous ones, correct? If you remember, if I go back, nothing was ever with the x. Always around it, but never anything with the x. Everyone agree? Okay, so now how does a number with the x affect it? All right, here's the points for this graph. Ready? It's a cosine graph, so it's going to start still at its max. Then everyone see halfway in between pi over 2 and 0? There's a little space there. Halfway in between, it's going to be 0. Where does cosine usually go next? It goes to max, 0, then to the minimum, but now this minimum is going to be at pi over 2. So go to 1, 2, down 3. Halfway in between pi over 2 and pi, 0. And where's cosine always end? Max, so at pi, I'm going to put 3. And we're going to do that one more time till we hit 2 pi. So in between pi and 3 pi over 2, we got a 0. 3 pi over 2, minimum, negative 3. Halfway in between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, you got a 0. And then we are going to end this back at 3. So it does affect, putting a number there affects it a little bit, huh? Can you answer part A, part B now? How many full cycles do you see now? How many cosine curves do I see that fit within 2 pi right now? That's all I'm asking. How many cosine curves did we just graph between 0 and 2 pi? 15? How many curves do we graph? 2 curves, yep. 2 cycles. Huh, that's pretty convenient, huh? What was our new number out in front of the x? A 2, huh? That's pretty easy, pretty neat, huh? All right, one more. One more. Now what's in front of my x in part C? A half. Predictions on how much of the cosine curve we're going to see? A half. Ready? Everyone, start at its max. Go ahead, start at its max. Now put a 0 at pi. Put a 0 at pi. Where does cosine go next? Min, but now that's at 2 pi. So at 2 pi, put negative 3. How many full cycles do we see? Half a cycle. Bless you. All right, you ready? New vocabulary term. How much you see, a half. 2, how much you see from 0 to 2 pi will be now given a name. That number in between is called, big reveal, big reveal. It's not even up here. There it is. That's the frequency. There it is, a little anticlimactic, sorry. It's called the frequency. That's how much of the curve you see from 0 to 2 pi. It will always be the number out in front of the x. Okay? We call it the b value. Okay? You got the a value, ready? You got the a value out in front, b value with the x, and then whatever is your shift, that's my c value. Okay? All right, let's see if we can put all this together before we end it. So our first graph, y equals 3 cosine x. What was my b value? What was the number in front of the x? 1. And that's how many curves we saw. Right? Everyone agree? All right. Period. How long did it take to make that original curve that I had on your graph right there? One cosine curve. How long did it take? Still 2 pi, right? That didn't change. Still 2 pi. Now we change things up. 3 cosine 2x. What was my frequency? What was my b value? We placed a 2 there, right? Because we saw 2 curves, we placed a 2 there. Ooh, here we go now, because your answer is not 2 pi anymore. Period. How long, go back to your graph. Everybody go back to your graph. Don't just stare up here. How long on the x-axis did it make for that one to make one full curve? Don't yell anything out. Look. How long did it take to make one full curve? From what to what? On this graph here. So it looks like from here to here was one full curve. All right, go ahead. How long did it take? Pi units. It took pi units to make one full cosine curve. And on the last one, now we're going to challenge you. What's our b value now? 1/2. Period. How long would have it taken to make one full curve here? I see half the curve from 0 to 2 pi. So to see the rest? Yeah, 4 pi. Got it. Anybody notice anything? As the frequency gets bigger, what happens to the period? Smaller. And as the frequency gets smaller, what happens to your period? Gets bigger. Okay? Here's the good news. Or maybe it might not be good news. I'm not going to have you graph all the time to find how long it's going to take. All right? Instead, I'm going to have a formula for you guys to use. All right? How to find period every single time. Okay? Without even having the graph. P for period, yes. It's always going to be equal to, ready, 2 pi divided by that b value, your frequency. Okay? That's a formula I can use. So yes, there are 3 formulas you're going to need to know going into Thursday. 2 pi over b. Ready to go? Because now you're on the clock. Here we go, 18, little help first. I got 6 sine 4x, and it's asking me for the period. Also, you may start seeing, anybody want to try to pronounce that? Sinusoidal? Sinusoidal? It sounds like we're talking about the sine curve, but this is just any graph that keeps repeating itself. Okay? I just don't want you to get it confused and think it's the sine curve. All right, sinusoidal, anything that repeats itself. All right, who was up? Sorry for that. Who was up? Here we go, Grace. Determine the period. So I have a formula for you. What was it? 2 pi over b. There's a number now, Grace, plugged in for b, and what is it?
4.
So 2 pi over 4. Oh, hello, directions. What do I not want here? Decimals, exact form. So can you leave it 2 pi over 4? Sure. I think some of you are a little bit better than that and probably could reduce that. So it's going to be, the period is pi over 2. Hey, this is what this means right now. Because I just don't want you guys just to generate answers and have no idea what's going on. Here's what that means right now. If I gave you guys a graph and you guys graph this for me, 6 sine 4x, here's what it would mean. Everyone remember what our sine curve looks like? Remember one full sine curve? Imagine one of those from 0 to pi over 2. That's what that means right there. In between 0 and pi over 2, you would see a whoosh, whoosh, full sine curve. That's what that pi over 2 represents. Good? All right, not out of the woods yet. 8 cosine pi over 3. 1, here you go, Olivia. What do you got here? Formula first. All right, we got a little work to do now. What's in place of the b here in the equation, Olivia? Yeah, so I'm doing, ready guys, 2 pi over 3. And no, I won't allow you to leave it like that. How are you going to simplify that? We've done a ton of these. What do we got? 2 pi. 2 pi. Division 2. Multiplication. What am I doing with the pi over 3? Flip it. Oh, what's going to cancel? Pi's. So the period here is 6 units. Yep. Doesn't have to have a pi with it all the time. All right, let's see if somebody can go all the way through this with me. Oh boy, 13, ready to go? I won't ask for the formula anymore. 2 pi, what's your b value? 2/3. All right, how am I going to fix this, Lily? 2 pi, fill me in. Times. Anything canceling? So how long is it going to take me to make one sine curve here? From 0 to 3 pi. Got to stretch that sucker out. 0 to 3 pi. Anything you want to ask here? Because I got one thing left to do, and that is, how do I graph one of these now? How do I graph one of these? Okay. Everyone see cosine 1/2 x. Now, hey, stop. Here's what we've been used to the last 1, 2, 3 days of this unit. Oh, it's cosine. Cosine usually starts where? At the max. So you go up to the max, whatever it is in this case. Then where does it go to? 0, which you usually put at pi over 2. Not anymore. Not anymore. When there is a new b value in there other than 1, our x-axis is going to look a little different. Okay? Our x-axis is going to look a little different. First thing I need you to find is period and frequency. So I'll first start with frequency because you can get that right off the equation. Okay, who's helping me here? 19, frequency? 1/2. That's the b value. That's another name for your b value, frequency. Okay, help me find the period now. 11. What's the formula?
2 pi.
Yep, 2 pi. What was the b value? All right, help me clean this up a little bit. Okay, yep, 2 pi. Do they cancel? What do you got to keep the top, and what am I doing in the bottom? Yep. Yep, so no 2's cancel, right? 4 pi, yep. So, hey, it's not going to take you to 2 pi to finish this graph. It's going to take you to what? 4 pi. I don't have that option to graph the 4 pi. I need you to put however much of the graph you can put right now to 2 pi. So here's what we're going to do from now on Now on. You're going to find out where the key values are. Every single graph you guys have done, there used to be a key value where? Every pi over 2, not anymore, because I got to stretch the graph out. So how do I determine where the key values are going to be? Well, don't I break it up every 4? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I break it up into even parts of 4. So you are going to take the period, which for us was what? 4 pi, and divide it up into equal parts of 4. All right, so we're going to have 4 pi divided by 4, and that'll give me what? Pi. So every time I go pi units, I'm going to place a 0, a max, a min. All right, let me do this graph with you, and hopefully it makes a little more sense. Hey, where's cosine start? Max. What is the max for this graph here? Remember, it's the number out in front here. 5. How high am I going to go? Just 2? 1, yeah. So cosine's going to start at its max. Then where's it go? It starts at its max, then it goes to its 0, right? But I'm not going to put a 0 at pi over 2. The next key value will be every pi. So I'm going to go max, 0. Everyone see that? I'm only going to put a point every pi now. All right, you got me? Max, 0, then where? Min, what's the min in this case? -1, but it's going to go to 2 pi. Every pi gets a point now. All right, not every pi over 2. And this graph makes sense. Why? How long did we say it was going to take to make a cosine curve here? 4 pi, and you see half of it. So how long is it going to take to finish it? All the way out to 4 pi. Okay? Questions from you guys? All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Lily. Yes. Yes, always. Because we divide, think about it, we always divide it up into 4 parts, right? Okay? Next up. Sine pi over 4x, got to find the b value and the period first. Six, little help. Here we go. What's the b value? Pi over 4. How are you going to find the period? Got it? You want to help me clean this up here, Casey? Yep, keep the 2 pi and multiply it by what? Got it? Uh-oh, what cancels here? Pi's are gone. So what ends up being the period here, Casey? 8, yep, 8 units. So every 8 units, I'm going to have a key value. Oh, I just gave you a blank slate. That means you're going to set it up here for me. All right, so let's draw your arrows, your axes in. Hey, and you don't need to do it right in the middle. You can do it right here, side by side. And I think you guys are going to like this when you get to set it up by yourself. Okay, have to determine where my key values are now. What was the period? 8. That's how long it takes me to do the full graph. And I divide that up into equal parts of what? 4. So you should graph a key value every how many units? 2. Now, that does not mean you have to go 1, 2, key value, 1, 2. You want to spread this sucker out? Spread it out. Watch, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2. I spread it out. Just make sure it's even. Make sure it's the same amount every time. Ready? What's my next one got to be? You're going every 2. 4. 1, 2, 3. What's the next one? 6. And what's the final one? And that's how do I know that's where to stop? That's where the graph should end because that was the period. Key value every 2. All right, what's the max height here going to be? Max height up and down to what? 1 and -1. Hey, if you want to make that 1 and that -1 to scrunch it in, it's up to you. I like mine to be spread out. I just ask whatever the interval is on the top, it's the same on the bottom. Do you guys have questions on this? Ask now about the setup, because what I'm about to do next is what we've been doing for the last 3 class days, and that's graphing the sine curve. Anything you want to ask? Okay, somebody's up. Here we go. Here we go, 9. Where's sine start?
Sine starts with the minimum, or it starts at 0.
Okay, is there any shift?
No.
Okay, so it's going to start at 0. Then where does it travel to?
So it's
Yep.
gonna go to the max.
Yep, which in our case we said was 1.
Yeah. And then it's gonna go back to 0.
Yep.
And then it's gonna go down to the minimum, which is -1. And then it's gonna go to 0.
Guys, I didn't change anything except the axes. Okay, that's why that b value affects everything. I did not change anything except for the axes. And that's it. And I think that's all you're going to have to deal with today. I don't think, did I put in any? I think it's tomorrow I start putting in a different A value and C value and put it all together. So yeah, you guys don't even have to worry about that. Real quick, go to numbers 5 and 6 before I let you go on your own. I just want to highlight a piece of the directions. Anybody, if you want to read to the class, just like elementary school, what's the last sentence say? 5 and 6? Numbers 5 and 6? Yes, no? What's it say, last sentence there? 2 complete cycles, correct. Meaning, if I had you do 2 complete cycles up here on this graph, next number would be 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so you do 2 cycles there. Questions? All right, let's go. I'm coming around, working with everybody, making sure we're good here.